Have you ever seen a mini PC that looks like a cassette tape? Well, this is a ZimaBlade.
With the PCI Express and SATA support, you can easily use those old hard drives and create your own home media server.
But why did it take me around half a year to finally review this? In today's video, you might just find out.
Welcome to Team Pandora.
Subscribble.
This ZimaBlade 7700 is probably the coolest looking mini PC we've ever had on the channel. Now, if you take a peek at the specs, well, they might leave you a bit underwhelmed. But once you realise that this little gem is designed to be a server in your home, it all starts to make a little more sense. When you see the price, well, holy monkeys, you're getting an awful lot for your money with this kit. Let's get to the unboxing. Magic finger ahoy, and open the opening. Box, another box, bag. Just look at all this, it's nuts. The nicest looking of the lot is a ZimaBlade, which is the server. But in this kit we also get 16GB of memory, a rack for the computer with 2 bays ready for 3.5 inches of hard drive, an adapter cable for video, and the coolest ever USB-C cable. I mean, look at this. A SATA Y cable so you can plug up 2 drives to the PC, a 12-volt 3A power adapter with them thingies so we can use it in Europe, US and UK.
Any weeny teeny weeny yellow dog bikini.
Satisfying. And it uses USB-C. This white box here is another charger. Let's see what's going on here. Ooh, hello. So in the box we have a nice looking case. And in the manual, it seems to be a different kind of adapter with HDMI. And adapters for Europe, UK, and China or Australia.
Jump on the Barbie!
Ooh. So I can see straight away that this adapter is something special. And we're given 2 more choices of colour and another USB cable. We didn't mention the US plug as it's already part of the adapter itself, making this power adapter and mini PC good to go all around the world. Let's take a look at the back of the box.
The world we live in does not belong to us.
Inside we get a flattering love letter from Lauren, a manual in multiple languages, which we're not going to read.
Pesky human.
So let's get to the mini PC, the ZimaBlade. And that is very nice. Kind of reminds me of a Sony Walkman. And there's also a few things hidden at the bottom of the case, like these 2 stickers to change the aesthetic of the memory, a shorter USB-C cable, and finally a SATA cable for a single drive. As you can see, there is a lot in this kit, but do we really need all of this? So let's get in there and have a closer look. It channels a cyberpunk vibe with translucent plastic on the top so we can see the components inside. There's an empty slot where the memory should be, and we'll add that in a bit. The side is bare, made of metal, which acts as a passive heatsink, and if we move to the side, we can see where the drives connect. Here we have 2 SATA 3 ports, as well as power for both of them. And if we move around to the top, we have a PCI 2x4 slot, which can be used to add an NVMe or graphic board. On the left we have a mini display port, 1GB Ethernet LAN, USB 3, and on the end, a USB-C. The bottom is made of a metal, probably for passive cooling, and we also have these tiny little rubber feet to stop it from sliding around. So let's get it open. At first we need to remove the surrounding plastic, as well as the 2 posi screws. There we go. Looking down the side of the case, we can confirm that the bottom is being used as a heatsink. But first, we need to insert the memory. We did get 1 stick of 16GB DDR3L, and we're not quite sure which way around these stickers go. So I'm just going to leave it without, and whack it in. Satisfying click. So now we can put the thing back together and actually test it out. But rather than use the standard USB adapter, it made much more sense to use the orange one, so we won't need this cable, as we can use the HDMI out on the adapter here. Then we'll add the orange USB cable and my old 3TB hard drive. Now the ZimaBoard is connected to the power and my home network, we can set it up via LAN. After pointing to the URL CasaOS.local, we're welcome to the home server setup. Basically just write our username and password, and then we're straight into the nitty-gritty. At first glance it's very similar to a smartphone app, and that's not far off. But before we do anything, we should definitely change the admin password. To do this we go to the terminal, And for both username and password, type in CasaOS. Once the terminal's up, type in passwd and then enter. Current password, CasaOS, followed by enter again. And you can type in your new password twice. Once done, type in exit and remember that password. Close the window and then check out the App Store. Very similar to an Android or Apple phone, we can just click these and it'll install straight to the server. There are things like ad blockers, chatbots, Minecraft servers, but nowadays I prefer to use this as a home media server. Some people use Plex, but personally I use Jellyfin. To do so, we just click on the Jellyfin button, then install, and give it a few minutes to do its thing. Once done, we need to make our drive viewable by the system, so click this button over here. If we click on Drive, we can see that both are connected, so back out, and then click on Create Storage. If you want to use the data as is, click on Create, but if you want to completely wipe the drive, press Format and Create. Now that's done, we can use both of these drives, so exit out. Now let's move into Files. In here we can copy over data, movies and music, things like that. Let's remember the names at the top. In the Jellyfin settings, we need to allow access to this extra storage. So we need to go down here and add it to the volumes list. If we're rubbish at typing, we can click here. Now we need to find that mint. There it is. So it's mint, storage, whatever, and then select. On the right side where it says container, just type in anything you want, and then go down to save. Once that's done, we can open up Jellyfin, and then go through the step-by-step guide. Basically, choose your language, tell us about yourself, write your password, add the media library, then the content type you wish to add. So I'll first start with music. If you have it all in one folder, it's fine, but in my case I've got it separated into Eurobeat, game music, and things I've made myself. After selecting folders, we can choose a few of these options, and they're usually for subtitles and scraping, things like that. Once we're done, we can click Next, and that's it. Our media server is now ready to play on any viewer on our home network, pretty much our own Netflix or Spotify. So here's Jellyfin on our LG TV, and yeah, there's our music. Oh yeah. We can also stream our favourite movies or TV shows, but this is only a bit of what a home server is capable of. We touched on a few more applications running in our ZimaBlade review, showing how it can run a local Minecraft server that we could all connect to, as well as what happens when you plug in the video connector. But this isn't really needed if you intend on using the ZimaBlade as a low-power, silent home server. It's about time for the pros and the cons. The ZimaBlade is an extremely easy server to set up. It's good quality, silent, low power, and if you want to add features, you can add a PCIe card. Unfortunately, you need to add a dongle for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Hardware isn't current gen, and they could have lowered costs rather than bundling in things that weren't needed. So, why did it take so long to review? Well, this has been working solidly since we set it up, and as it was out the way without a hitch, we kind of forgot it was there, just how a good server should be. If you watched all this video to the end, whack that like button, and if you want to see more from us, please hit the subscribe. We have a Patreon if you want to help us out, and also these lovely videos for you to peruse.
Click on the videos above for happy lucky time with me, John Lou.
Alright John, it's been me Chicken of Team Pandora, and I'll catch you on the next one. Ta-ra.